Dreams do not expire, because the universe becomes cruel one morning and decides to take them away. They expire because the man carrying them keeps delaying the version of himself required to protect them, and every delayed day quietly changes the dream from a living command into a sentimental memory. A dream begins as pressure. It interrupts your normal life. It makes ordinary habits feel insulting. It whispers that your current structure is too small for the future trying to enter. Yet, if that pressure is not obeyed, it starts decaying. First, it becomes inspiration. Then it becomes entertainment. Then it becomes nostalgia. Eventually, you stop feeling called by it and start admiring it from a distance like something that belonged to a younger version of you. Locking in means refusing to let that transformation happen. It means treating the dream like a deadline, not decoration. It means understanding that desire without devotion eventually becomes grief. A serious life begins when a man stops romanticizing the future and starts defending it through ugly, repetitive, unglamorous work. The dream does not care how inspired you felt when you first saw it. It does not care how powerful the vision was. It does not care how many nights you stayed awake thinking about it. The only tribute a dream recognizes is execution. Wake up when the body wants comfort. Work when the mind wants novelty. Train when the emotions want negotiation. Build when nobody is applauding. Study when the progress feels invisible. Return when yesterday's effort produced no reward. This is where the fantasy separates from the mission. A fantasy asks to be felt. A mission demands to be served. If you keep treating the future like something that will arrive because you want it badly enough, you will watch it disappear while holding the same desire in your hands. The frightening truth is that every dream has a window, and while that window is not always obvious, it is always real. Energy changes. Responsibilities change. Opportunity changes. Confidence changes. The mind changes after too many broken promises. A man can wait so long that the dream remains technically possible, yet psychologically dead, because he no longer trusts himself enough to chase it with violence, clarity, and hunger. This is how years quietly betray people. Not through one dramatic failure, but through gradual emotional erosion. The first delay feels harmless. The second delay feels reasonable. The third delay feels familiar. After enough delays, postponement becomes identity. The man no longer says he avoided the dream. He says life happened. That phrase sounds mature from the outside, yet inside it often hides the corpse of every action he refused to take when the door was still open. Locking in is not motivation. Motivation is too soft, too weather-based, too dependent on emotion behaving itself. Locking in is a hostile takeover of your own attention. It is the moment you remove voting rights from distractions, cravings, moods, weak friends, easy dopamine, late-night excuses, and the pathetic inner lawyer who argues beautifully for your destruction. A locked-in man does not ask whether the work feels attractive today. He asks whether the work belongs to the future he is building. If it belongs, it gets done. If it does not belong, it gets cut. The day stops being a playground for impulse and becomes a battlefield with objectives. Every hour receives a command. Every habit is inspected. Every drain is questioned. Every comfort must justify its existence. This is not extreme. This is alignment. A scattered life requires no enemy because it destroys itself through leakage.
You need to understand the difference between being tired and being undirected, because many lives collapse from confusing the two. Real exhaustion follows honest effort. Undirected fatigue comes from a nervous system bleeding energy through unfinished decisions, constant stimulation, hidden guilt, open loops, and the quiet shame of knowing you. are not doing what you promised yourself you would do. A man can wake up tired after 8 hours of sleep because his mind is carrying 10 years of delayed action. He thinks rest will save him, yet rest cannot repair the damage caused by avoidance. Rest restores the worker. It does not resurrect the deserter. If your fatigue always appears before the work, around the work, or near the decision that would change your life, examine it carefully. That may not be tiredness. That may be resistance wearing a blanket. The dream starts expiring when your standards become negotiable. You skip once and call it balance. You delay once and call it timing. You indulge once and call it recovery. Nothing collapses immediately, which is why the trap works so well. The punishment is delayed, so the behavior feels safe. Yet every compromise teaches the nervous system what kind of man is in command. If command keeps folding under pressure, the future stops believing you. This matters because self-respect is not built through speeches. It is built through evidence. Every completed session, every protected hour, every resisted urge, every finished task, every private victory tells the mind that the dream is still under military protection. Without that evidence, ambition becomes noise. With that evidence, ambition becomes structure. A locked-in season will cost you, and anyone selling transformation without cost is feeding you poison with a polished spoon. You will lose comfort. You will lose certain distractions. You may lose access to people who only knew how to bond with your unfocused version. You will lose the luxury of pretending you do not know what needs to be done. That loss is not tragedy. That loss is purification. A serious future requires space, and space is created by removing what cannot travel with you. The weak part of the mind calls this sacrifice because it only sees what disappears. The stronger part calls it construction, because it understands what is being cleared. You cannot carry every appetite into a new life. Some desires must be executed at the gate. The method is simple enough to insult the part of you that keeps searching for complexity. Choose the dream that still disturbs you. Reduce it into the few actions that actually create progress. Place those actions where your energy is highest. Remove the obvious drains around them. Track completion, not emotion. Repeat long enough that the mind stops treating the work like a special event and starts treating it like law. Do not build your life around intensity alone, because intensity without structure burns out and calls itself destiny. Build around systems. Same hour, same task, same standard, same return after failure. A dream becomes real when it enters the calendar, survives contact with boredom, and remains protected after the first emotional wave disappears.